Hello everyone, my name's Cliff and welcome back to my channel. This is Cliff's Dark Gems. And if you're new here, welcome for the first time. And tonight I'm going to be speaking about my most disappointing reads of 2024. So stay tuned. Okay, so 2024 was actually a good year for reading for me. And a lot of these books that I'm going to be talking about are not necessarily 1 or 2 star books. They are just books that disappointed me for a number of reasons. It's maybe because they could have been hyped up. I might have seen brilliant reviews on Goodreads and on booktube. And yeah, they didn't gel with me. And I was expecting maybe 4 or 5 star reads because of everything I heard, and it just didn't work for me. There are also some books that for me were kind of crap, but I don't give 1 star reviews, I only give 2 star reviews and above. So if I manage to finish a book, it's going to be 2 stars, even if it's kind of dull and pointless. It's 1 or 2 of them are. But yeah, let's get on to the books, shall we? Okay, and this is in no particular order. First of all, I'm going to talk about Halloween Fiend by C.V. Hunt. Now, I read this over Halloween, and I wanted something creepy, and I wanted something that gave me those kind of autumn vibes, even though it doesn't make sense from where I live. But yeah, this book kind of disappointed. It's got such an awesome premise. It's about this creature called Halloween that haunts a small town, and every night everyone in this town has to leave a little offering, like a trick or treat, a live offering. Could be a little kitty, could be a little puppy, something else, I don't know. But yeah, they have to leave something on their doorstep for this creature that's haunting them. And yeah, I was just disappointed. The characters were flat, unlikable. It took me. If characters that are bad take me away from a story. If I don't feel anything for them, generally I don't care for a story much at all. And there was a little bit of a creepy festival towards the end. I won't say anything more. But yeah, it was just meh for me. And that is Halloween Fiend. Okay, the next one is going to be an unpopular opinion for most people. Although I've heard it is kind of... people go either one way or the other way with this particular book, and I'm talking about The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward. Yeah, amongst my booktube friends, I've heard amazing things about this book, and you know, the kind of twist at the end you never see coming, and it's just superb. And I've got to admit, the writing is pretty good. I just want to say the first paragraph here. This is a story of a murderer, a stolen child, revenge. This is a story of Ted, who lives with his young daughter Lauren and his cat Olivia in an ordinary house at the end of an ordinary street. And all of these things are true, and yet some of them are lies. I'm not going to read any more. As I said, the writing was pretty good, and it's told from numerous different perspectives. And yeah, even from the cat's perspective, this cat. The thing is, it wasn't dark enough for me. It's more like a mystery thriller, and you know, kind of hinted at getting darker in a couple of points, a couple of times, and it just did not go there. And the ending, I'm afraid I actually did see it coming. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but let's just say that, yeah, you might not even want to hear this, just skip 10 seconds from now. Okay? I studied psychology. I was a major in psychology. I'm not going to say anything more about it. I saw the ending and I could see what was happening. So yeah, it is a book that a lot of people are going to love. It's better to go in blind, and I would recommend it, but for me it was a disappointing read. I was expecting more. that is The Last House on Needless Street. Okay, next up is another possibly unpopular opinion, and I'm going with At the Mountains of Madness by H.P. Lovecraft. Now, you've got to understand that I actually really enjoy Lovecraft, and I've loved some of his books, shorter novellas, something like The Color Out of Space, or even the short story The Call of Cthulhu. There are a lot of them that I've really enjoyed and given 5 stars. This book was too long. It was too repetitive, it was kind of boring, kind of dull. The beginning, it's about this expedition into the Antarctic and the discovery of this lost civilization. You know, I don't know, millions of years before, a long time before. And it starts off really well, where some of the scientists ripped to pieces. Then it's kind of 2 parts, and these people that go up and they find this kind of remains of a lost civilization, and they go in and they discover, and from there it's just endless descriptions and meanderings, and maybe I'm missing something, maybe I need to reread it, but it did not have the kind of narrative force of these other books, which came to a proper conclusion, which is exciting, like The Rats or something. It just went on and on about old gods and this civilization has been lost in time. And there's monsters, but I want to know more about the monsters, and they only hinted at. And you can say that, you need your imagination to fill in the spaces, and yes you do. But for me, this one, look, I gave it 3 stars. There were moments. It was just a little bit long, a little bit tedious, a little bit overdone. Just endless descriptions. So unfortunately, this is my least favorite H.P. Lovecraft, At the Mountains of Madness. And please don't hate me for that. Okay, next up is Mapping the Interior by Stephen Graham Jones. Now, I wanted to love this little novella, I really did. So many of my friends on BookTube love Stephen Graham Jones. He's raved about all over the place. Maybe not this particular novella, maybe I started in the wrong place. And it's about a young boy who's wandering around at night, and he sees his long dead father. He thinks he sees his long dead father, and so he follows him. And it says on the blurb, when he follows, he discovers his house is bigger and deeper than he knew. Although I suppose that's kind of metaphorical, and I suppose there are a lot of other layers to this book, but it is not scary. It's not really a horror, and I did not find it deep and meaningful. Maybe it might be better on a reread. Let me know, people. Am I missing out? But the most important thing, I cannot get with this guy's language, with his writing. His writing style is confusing, and it's just not for me. I mean, if you can tell me where I can start with another book of his, let me know. Something that might be a little bit easier. Because this was just confusing as hell. Came like a mess. And I didn't even get the ending much. Didn't really know what was going on. So maybe you can help me, my loyal viewers. Let me know where to start with Stephen Graham Jones. Okay, the next one is a strange one because it doesn't really fall under disappointing. It's Lassie, or is it Lassie? Lassie Story, I'm going to go with that, by Stephen King. And I put it down. I will pick it up again, but I put it down because we were going through trauma, and the story was a bit heavy for me at the time, and I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about it going forward when I pick it up again. I have heard that it gets better, and basically it's about a woman who loses her world famous author husband, and how she copes. And I know that it's kind of like a love story, and it's a lot of people's favorites, so I'm definitely going to pick it up again. Lassie's Story is not one that's going to be kind of high on my priorities of Stephen King's that I still want to read, but I will carry on with it eventually. So I'll pick it up again one day. Oh, and just to add to that, this is very much Stephen King's favourite book of all his work. It's a very personal story, and it's very obvious that it's about to beat the king. And so yeah, it's very personal, and maybe that's a reason for me to pick it up and actually read it properly. Hey, it might become one of my favourites, you never know. So yeah, it's Lassie's story. How the hell do you say that? Okay, next up we got a western which I read for June on the Range in 2024, and that is The Haunted Misa. Misa, I think it's Misa. That's by Louis L'Amour. It's not my first western, but I was expecting good things about this. Number one, because of the title, Haunted. So you expect like kind of a ghost story or some kind of horror story, cowboy horror story, kind of western horror. But no, it was more like, once again, a mystery thriller. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a terrible book, but yeah, it slowed my reading down. And it's about the civilization. What are they called? I've written it down here. They're called the Anasazi in the southwest, and they disappear. The civilization disappear, and they leave the remains of their civilization. It's completely abandoned. The canyons and the plateaus, it's kind of haunting that area. And it's about parallel worlds and stuff like that. But is there horror? Nah, not really. Is it long-winded? Is it just not a very good book? I would say yeah. And I've actually been advised by a couple of people that this is not the best place to start with Louis L'Amour. And maybe I should try him again, but one of his more popular books, proper western, and not something that I'm expecting to be horror. That is not horror. So that is The Haunted Misa. Okay, and the next one I'm going to talk about is no surprise at all. Now, I absolutely love The Woman in Black, but Dolly by Susan Hill, not so much. The positives were that it was kind of atmospheric, set in the English countryside, sort of remote, I think they're called fens. So yeah, the writing was pretty good, but the story was just kind of pointless. And it had some of the most obnoxious brats characters that I've ever read about. And yeah, it's about this little doll. That's his kids in this remote area, and that little girl is a brat. She's an absolute, I felt like slapping her. And she grows up into a woman who's even worse. And the boy is like a kind of a meek little child. And anyway, it's her birthday and she wants her favourite doll. She's spoilt as well, very spoilt. And she wants a doll. And she doesn't get the doll that she wants, so she breaks it. Sorry if I'm giving spoilers, but honestly with this book, I seriously don't give a crap. And yeah, so it's not a haunted ghost story, it's a haunted doll. And nothing really happens. I can't remember the story. I just remember being like puzzled, shaking my head, scratching my head, and saying, is there any point to the story whatsoever? With the ending, anything. Wasn't scary, maybe just slightly creepy. But yeah, 2 stars. I did finish it. Perhaps I should have put it down, but it was part of a buddy read. So I finished it anyway. Yeah. Dolly. Not recommended. No. Oh, Layman. We're coming to 2 from the last 3 by Richard Layman. I've got a love-hate relationship with this author. There's a couple of books that I've really enjoyed, but The Woods Are Dark is not one of them. You know, it's kind of in the woods are 6 dead trees, the killing trees. That's where they take them. Innocent travellers on vacation on the back roads of California, seized and bound, stripped of their valuables, and shackled to the trees, to wait in the woods in the dark, maybe for some cannibal hillbillies. Now, what made this book just, what it didn't work for me, I mean, cannibal hillbillies, people, you know me, I love some hillbillies, I love some cannibals, I love that. This book was just so bland. The characters were just so poor. Everything was just so chaotic. And I started laughing at scenes that I was supposed to be scared of. I actually just started laughing. You know, when kind of sex and mutilation and cannibalism kind of all come together almost at the same time, that's when I'm just shaking my head and laughing. This is just dumb. And I didn't care about the characters, so I didn't care how they died. And yeah, he's written many, many books better than this. But, there's a big but. Apparently there's another version of this, and I think this is the wrong version, and that I'm supposed to read the right version. If you know about that, once again, let me know. Because yeah, this book had potential, but it just felt dumb. The characters were dumb. Like I say, when people are kind of having sex and there's cannibalism going on at the same time, I'm just like shaking my head. I'm thinking, no, it's dumb. The woods are dark. Okay, now we're going to get to the sickest stuff that I've ever read in my life. Ever. And that is No One Rides for Free by Judith Sonnet. Now, yeah, got to say that she gave all the trigger warnings, not only in the beginning of the book, in the middle of the book. So it's kind of unfair, you know, to give a book like that 1 star if you know that it's going to be disgusting. I gave it 3 stars. It was more like 1.5, 2 stars, but I felt that the author achieved what she set out to achieve, and I think it's unfair, if that's what she's doing, to kind of bring the book down and bring the ratings down, because she worked hard on this book, I think for a week. I think she worked on it for a week. But anyway, it is freaking disgusting. And it's a mother driving to a university or whatever with her son and her daughter. And she stops, and she's also a little bit of a sex maniac, but it's not that right at the beginning, it doesn't matter. But she stops at a petrol station, goes in, and when she comes out, there's a man in the back seat with the kids, with a gun. And the man says, "You're going to drive where I tell you to drive," which is out into the desert. And he's got a little bag full of toys. That's what I'm going to say. And I don't want to give away any spoilers, but there are lots and lots of trigger warnings in this book, people, and you need to check them out if you want to read the book. And if you don't like extreme violence, extreme sex, extreme everything, then don't read the book. Just simply obey the warnings on the cover. And even 3/4 of the way through, where she said it's about to get worse, listen to her, people. This is not a beginner-friendly extreme novel, novella. It's not. It's for hardened people. And I felt after reading this, maybe I'm not one of them. It's pretty bad. Yeah, that's No One Rides for Free. Okay, and we're going to finish off with more Layman people, because we all love Richard Layman, don't we? And this is Dark Mountain, probably the worst that I've read by him. And it starts off pretty well. Yeah, you've got these 2 families that go hiking in the mountains, kind of camping in the mountains, and they come across this powerful witch and her very horny, psychotic son, who kind of likes rapey, likes the girls. And yeah, this is also a sick book, and I'm going to tell you one scene, so if you don't want to know about it, just go like this. Okay, go like this. What happens is, in one scene, this girl gets raped by this big horny brute, and then 20 minutes later her boyfriend is kind of calming her down, just has some comfort sex with him. Yeah, how messed up is it? Okay, well, never mind. But anyway, let's move on. The second half of the book also was kind of completely different. I thought this book would stay kind of Dark Mountain, the woods are dark, you know, kind of crazy. But then the second half of the book kind of, yeah, took a different turn, and the story became dull, and the story became pointless. And yes, in both these books, you know, the woods are dark and Dark Mountain, you get a lot of breasts and rumps and nipples and chests and wiggling of chests, all sorts of crazy Layman stuff, but that just didn't work for me. And yeah, I would avoid them if I were you. So that is Dark Mountain. Okay everyone, so those are my most disappointing reads of 2024. Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be a couple of stinkers in 2025 as well. So we'll get to those at the end of the year. But I had a lot of fun in 2024 and I read some awesome books. And I'm going to put that up there. Best books of 2024. And some other nice stuff as well that I'll choose later. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Let me know what you think of my choices. If it was your favorite book, just let me know, but just be gentle. Just an opinion. And until next time, take care of yourselves, keep those pages turning, and cheers.